Well, good morning, folks. This is R Vermil 47, Robert Vermillion, coming to you from Dallas, Texas. Today is March the 29th, 2012. I'm making this video at 10:23 Central Daylight Savings Time. We're looking at the the magnetogram of the sun, and it is showing us again the different polarities of the magnetic makeup of different spot areas or active regions. Right now, nothing but alpha or beta compositions are out there. No triple combinations of anything right now, or even double combinations. So I think we did have, let's see, 1440. We did have a minor C flare come from 1447 earlier. So that's really been the only one that's been flaring enough to make it into the seas anyway. What we're going to watch for, though, in the next 2 days is what's going to be coming over this horizon. So let's take a look. So here we have from the SDO just a regular shot of the sun with the 171 angstrom filter on it. You can see the active areas. Again, here's our flaring area that has the one that's been on the side of the sun that faces us that's flared, but again, low C. I mean, barely C, to tell you the truth. Again, we can see the areas here. We can see that there's a nice filament along here. This was a very large filament, and it stayed together as it rotated across the sun, and it didn't collapse on us. But look what we've got going on over here. Look at that. That is my phone. No, this is what we're looking at to come visit us. And this is our old friend 1429 sunspot. And it'll have a different number once it comes around. They are always renumbered. They never keep the same number. But remember how busy it kept us a few weeks ago. So it's already been flaring, and we've seen lots of backside coronal mass ejections and some fierce looking ones at that. We can take a close-up look at that right here, and this is from the SDO. This is the composition of several colors, but and this is compliments of solarham.com. Again, one of the best places to get your weather, your space weather data, and since it's amateur radio and ham operators, they depend on knowing what the space weather's doing, so that they'll know how well they are getting their signals out, or they're receiving signals. So they're going to pay attention to the sun. And when they pay attention, they get lots of information, and that brings us lots of information. So go check them out. Go check out Kevin over at solarham.com, and just tell him Robert sent you. Anyway, he pointed out that this was actually a C5 flare put out by old sunspot 1429. Now again, this is the far northeastern limb of the sun, so it's rotating around, and it's very active, and that's a very decent flare. I mean, just to be, coming around from the backside. So all indications are it's still going to be a pretty good active one. So we'll just have to keep that in mind, and finally watch the solar activity probably pick back up, and we'll just see if 1429 and whatever its new number will be will still have the same anger it had. Now, this is the HAARP facility in Gakona, Alaska, the research facility up there, and this is the ryometer. And what this does is it measures noise in the 30 megahertz range, and it kind of gives you an idea of what kind of absorption is happening due to ionospheric disturbances. Now, that may sound like nothing, but I find it interesting that the green is the quiet day curve. In other words, they averaged out like what happens, you know, when it's a quiet day, and then we show the deviations. The blue line is the actual detector, the signal that comes back to the sensor. The red shows when we're having absorption, if it's being absorbed by the ionosphere due to either space weather events or geomagnetic storming. But very quiet right here. Talk about a quiet day curve. So just thought I'd show you all that. I hadn't showed you the barometer either for a while. Now here's the induction magnetometer, again from the HAARP facility in Alaska, and we had some substorming because we did have elevated K indexes due to probably solar wind. There was no coronal mass ejections that came our way, so this was possibly a solar sector crossing, and it just caused some substorming, which of course caused agitation or noise here in the very low. But that we did get enough broadband here to say it was again a magnetic substorm. Here's our 2.5 area. It's kind of sagging, and again we've got some PC1 pulsations going on, but for the last couple of hours everything is looking quiet on HAARP. Things are really looking quiet. Jumping into Earth weather now. This is the College of DuPage Next Lab. Again, a great place to get weather data. This is the water vapor satellite, and I've got it on the Vapor 1 look, which shows me the areas that are dry, and it looks like it kind of blinks in and out. So that's not my fault. It's part of the satellite's fault. Now it's just data. The red areas would be dry, and everything else, of course, is moisture. That's what the water vapor satellite shows. It's also easy to pick out where strong jets are. Here's a strong jet up here. This is the next storm is coming in to probably affect the areas in the central section of the U.S. Beginning today, and then for a couple of days. But nice big ball there of storm coming in. You know, it's just there's the culprit itself, but it's also sending impulses out here. This is an impulse coming out, and this is the one that's probably going to start setting off some potential severe weather today. Interesting look at we had a mesoconvective system in central Texas last night, and this was from a shortwave in a subtropical jet down here. Didn't give me any rain. I got some clouds that looked like it was going to rain yesterday, but it didn't. And right now the rain has been really pulled back out of the forecast for North Texas anyway, here around my area in Dallas. But again, once again, this is a pretty good storm coming in, and now we'll take a look at the jet stream I like to look at. Okay, here's the 300 millibar heights. This is the jet stream level. These are the winds and temperatures. Again, you can see our storm coming into the Pacific Northwest with looks like wind gusts right now, and these are going to be computer extrapolated just because there's not anything out there to send up our radio sound balloons. But over 125 knots, probably reaching into the 130 knot area. So we have this, but first we've got this little dip here, and again, this is this is the start. This is like a piece of this comes off and is going to run this way. We still show a pretty decent omega block, and for that reason, that may be why I'm not going to see much action down here, but there's enough moisture in the area, and with this much energy coming in, and this is decent energy along when there's the trough right here, as it swings through, you're going to see some severe weather probably in the central sections. And again, it's as I say, and I I know I'll probably reiterate way too many times, but when you see diverging air or direction in that area is where you generally will see good uplift. So that's probably where we're going to see the potential for severe weather. In fact, let's look at the convective outlooks. Okay, here's the day one outlook, and again, like I said, here's the area that's up for potential severe weather, going from far northwest Texas through western Oklahoma, then up into Kansas and Nebraska, and also in a good chunk of Illinois. The main threats here are going to be very large hail and some pretty good downburst or straight line winds. Tornadoes are also possible. I would not be surprised to see some tornado reports out of this today. Of course, here I am sitting in the middle of this dry spot, but that's okay. We're doing all right on rain in North Texas anyway. Nice little area of green, just showing the potential for regular generic thunderstorms through most of the eastern half of the country, with the exception of the northeast. Now let's take a look at the day 2 outlook. Let's see if we can do that without it being too crazy. Hello. No, it's not going to be. Oh well, that's good enough. Put the cities on. Here we go. As you can see, this impulse will move, and we'll move that slight risk area to the east somewhat, so it'll be more into the Indiana and Ohio, Kentucky areas for the slight risk. The potential for slight risk also extends back here, but there's not enough computer model agreement to set a slight risk for back there yet. But some of the data shows that some of the storms that pop up back in here, along again with a trough and a short wave, will produce some severe thunderstorms. So we'll keep an eye on to see if they upgrade this to a slight risk later on when the next update comes out. But again, this is day 2, which would be for Friday, tomorrow. Okay, on the day 3 outlook, there's not any areas of concern at this time. Of course, that can change. But the extended outlook, the Storm Prediction Center is looking at day 5, which would be the Monday through Tuesday time frame for maybe a potential severe weather episode anywhere from East Texas up into the Ozarks and down into the Gulf states. So again, that's a day 5 outlook. That's again pushed out. You know, anytime they decide that there's a potential that far out, you know, that means that there's some pretty good parameters that they're confident on. So we'll keep an eye on that. And again, that'd be the Monday through Tuesday. So it's possible that the weekend might be pretty decent for most folks. Anyway, a quick wrap up will show, let's see. Here, I'll let you look at the sun while I'm doing my quick wrap up. Quick. Nothing's ever quick with me. I take too long. I ramble. Sun, I think we're still in the quiet, the lull before the activity really starts to pick up again, because we'll be watching for 1429 to come around and probably give us some pretty decent activity. Otherwise, space weather looks pretty benign, barring any unforeseen, coronal mass ejections, filament collapses. We did have the coronal hole earlier that gave us that substorming. I don't even think we made it to G1 storm level yesterday and the day before. So space weather relatively quiet right now. HAARP facilities indications are quiet. Severe weather wise, there is a slight chance of severe weather for the Central Plains today, and that'll move up into the Ohio Valley on Friday, And then again, we might have a break from severe weather for the latter part of the weekend, and then Monday and Tuesday will be the next chance to check. All right, I'm Robert Vermillion, our Vermillion 47 in Dallas, Texas. Thank y'all for watching, and y'all have a good one.